Our spooky, ooky, kooky story today, we are going to be doing more of a little bit of a mystery, but there's some spooky elements still in it. We are going to be going to Las Cruces, New Mexico to tell a tale that is really hard to believe because of the fact that it was very early in the morning, how it's still unsolved today, and again, how the business kept operating despite everything that was going on with the building. But it is no longer in operation today. I would like to note that. So, what happened? What am I talking about? What are we diving into? Well, let's go to the other side. Hello, it's spooky, it's kooky, it's ooky time. Welcome to the other side with me, your host, ASOS. So, on Valentine's Day, I was asked while I was in Las Cruces, New Mexico, if I had ever heard about this situation at the bowling alley massacre, as some would like to call it. And, I had said, no, I've never heard of this. So, of course, naturally, as somebody who's really curious, I deep dived into what had happened because a lot of people were telling me that this building is eerie. Like the stain that this event that happened has left on the building is just undescribable. Like it has permanently marked that building, stained that building, left that building feeling a certain way because of what happened in 1990. It was February 10th in 1990. It was a family-owned bowling alley in Las Cruces, New Mexico. It was called Las Cruces Bowl. And it was preparing for its upcoming Saturday, which of course the weekends are always busy, especially for an entertainment place. Manager Stephanie Scenic was counting receipts from the previous night. She was alongside her 12-year-old daughter Melissa, and her daughter Melissa had brought her friend Amy. Additionally, among them were Ida Holguin, a cook. They were set to open at 9 a.m. But at 8:20, Melissa and Amy went to go get a snack when they saw two men standing in one of the entryways with guns. The men had ushered the girls into the office at gunpoint. The gunman went off to go find the other people in the bowling alley and did the same. At this point, it had really clicked in everybody's head what was going on. At that moment, unfortunately, 26-year-old Stephen Tarrant, who was a mechanic for the bowling alley, had come in with his daughters. Now, this is a very tragic side note. He was not supposed to go in with his kids that day. He was supposed to go alone, but he could not find anybody to watch his 2-year-old daughter and his 6-year-old stepdaughter. So, unfortunately, he brought them into work. And as soon as he realized what was going on in the bowling alley, this man did the right thing. This man fought. He fought the gunman. He tried his best to get everybody out of the situation, but unfortunately, since there was more than one gunman, he was just overpowered and it did not work out, and everybody was forced to the ground. Everybody was forced into the office. Now, while the men were rummaging around and they're trying to steal stuff, trying to look for things as well, they had unfortunately shot everybody execution style, and they had additionally set fire to the office. Now, by a miracle, Melissa, the 12-year-old, somehow conscious, managed to call 911. Now, I'm going to play this for you, but this is a huge trigger warning. Like, if you know you cannot handle this, like, you can skip forward. I understand that. But I do want to share the 911 call because it is very heroic. It is very tragic. She was calm. The 911 operator is amazing, but it's hard to swallow that.
Please help me.
Oh, well, slow down.
We were all shot and hold up.
Okay. Where are you at?
1201 East Amador, Las Cruces Bowl.
Las Cruces Bowl?
Yes.
Okay, and there were shots fired?
Yes. All of us were hurt.
Huh?
All of us were hurt. I think I'm the only one conscious.
All of you were hurt? Okay, we'll get an ambulance rolling.
Please.
Okay, what's your name?
Melissa Repass. Please hurry.
Okay, Melissa, we've got him dispatched. Did you see who did it?
No, sir. They told us all to get down. They shot me 5 times.
Okay. We'll get him rolling, Melissa. Just hang on. Take a deep breath. We've got patrol units en route. How many people are hurt?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
7 people are hurt?
Yes, I think.
7 subjects hurt. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, Melissa.
It hurts.
It hurts. Okay.
That is just gut-wrenching. The fact that she sat there and she said, I've been shot 5 times. 5 times. Keep in mind, Melissa was one of the survivors. She has still survived this gruesome incident. She was shot 5 times. She somehow was conscious. She somehow was able to call 911 at 12 years old. Now, again, let's remember like the time period. This is 1990. And there are no phones back in the day the way that they are today. So the fact that she was able to do this, I really, really commend this little girl. She really did save her own life and she did save others. So emergency crews came on scene immediately, within minutes afterwards. But unfortunately, dead was Stephen alongside his 6-year-old daughter and Amy, 13. The survivors were rushed to the hospital, but unfortunately, 2-year-old Valerie had passed away. Now, the only survivors was Melissa, her mom, Stephanie, and Ida the cook. After the horrible incident, police had set roadblocks all over the city, but unfortunately, it led nowhere. Police had collected fingerprints, shell casings, but that was it. The scene had been contaminated by emergency personnel trying to save the victims' lives. Eyewitnesses, besides the survivors, helped police create a composite sketch of the subjects of the gunmen, and I'll post the pictures of the suspects right now. The police had also knew that they had drove a green van and that the men did not try to hide their identity. With all that, the police have still not found any leads. It's still unsolved to date, 36 years later. Now, again, this is unsolved. So if you do have any information, the Las Cruces-Dona County Crime Stoppers does have a reward out for any information to identify the men responsible for the shooting. You can call 1-800-22-8477. Now again, that number is 800-22-84774. Now, this is considered a very heinous crime in Las Cruces. You know, while there was survivors, Cindy had unfortunately passed away a few years after the tragedy from her complications. Ida had struggled to recover, and she had to relearn everything. Additional notes from the event was that while money was taken, some was left behind. And unfortunately, the owner of the bowling alley had changed because Ron had to sell it after filing for bankruptcy. He was in $2 million worth of debt. So originally, when the tragedy occurred, he had opened just 6 days later, and he had cited that life needed to go on, which is wild. 6 days later, that he was just like, life needs to go on. The bowling alley had continued to switch hands until it went to Robert Naha, who left the bowling alley open until 2018, and then he shut it down voluntarily due to family tragedy and also because he was in debt as well. And now the building's left vacant and it's also left boarded up. So I think that's an interesting fact that they have tried to keep the bowling alley open because a lot of people in Las Cruces talk about how much that bowling alley means to them, how much it is a very big, impactful place of entertainment for everybody, and everybody grew up with that. And, it is a small town. It's a small town, but it's not a small town. And yet the building owners continue to go into debt. I think there's only one owner since the tragedy that has not gone into debt, that has not struggled to keep it open, but everybody else has. And the reason why I say that there is spooky, kooky, ookiness with this building is because a lot of people feel the heaviness of the tragedy. A lot of people state that they cannot walk into that building. So they had bands coming and playing the early 2000s at the bowling alley, and a lot of the bands have stated that it is a heavy, heavy building. It is hard to walk in there. It is hard knowing what happened in there. It is hard to swallow it. It's very, very depressing in there, and the tragedy has just left it permanently stained. They also note that there is the feeling of the children in the building. But a lot of people claim that the main spirit that they do feel and they do notice the most is the 2-year-old. The 2-year-old is a spirit that everybody claims the most to see, feel, interact with. And unfortunately, I do think that they should have maybe closed it down for a little bit more and tried to reopen it. I am worried that, if they do tear it down, what would happen to the memory of it? What would happen to the spirits that are left trapped there? Because there's definitely reports, like I said, of paranormal activity within the bowling alley. Unfortunately, when tragedy like this happens, it will permanently leave a place with that echo of the events. I always like to say that there's different types of paranormal activity, right? There is, poltergeist activity. There is activity that basically plays the events of a tragedy on loop. And that's the one that I feel like is definitely occurring in this building based on like a lot of different paranormal encounters that people have had in this building. They just feel like the events play on a loop there. Like it's just permanently stained. The spirits are not very active. It's just a replay of what had happened in there. And, I am sad though that it is closed down because it would be nice to further investigate and everything, but I also hope that, 35 years later something happens for justice, that we find whoever did this, because it is very mysterious that nobody can find who did this, yet they have eyewitness accounts, they have fingerprints, they have all this evidence, and yet they are still unable to figure out who did this. And there are so many ugly rumors out there, but we don't feed into rumors. Rumors are not factual, and there is a lot of rumors in regards to this event. It is a cold case, and I really do hope that even though, again, it happened 30 plus years ago, that maybe one day we will get some answers, especially for the families, especially for those that are still surviving today and have had to struggle to survive today. And yeah, I think that they should also let somebody go into that building to do an investigation to see, you know, is it just this tragedy, or is there more that is weighing on this building because of the tragedy? If you have any stories or any encounters of this building, please do share it in the comments down below. Or if you have any stories about the bowling alley, do share it in the comments below. Like always, like, share, subscribe, comment, interact with me, check out my social medias. I have a TikTok account, I have Instagram. I love to chat with you guys. I love to hear your guys' stories. I love to hear your guys' opinions, so don't be shy. I hope that you guys have a good one, even though this was a very heavy one, and I hope that you guys will join me next week. We post every single Sunday, and I hope you guys have a good one. Bye!